Good morning, Seawolves. I'm Bruce Pandolfo. Welcome to another edition of Stony Brook Newsbreak. Join me in acknowledging a series of tragic losses as we turn a somber eye to Nashville, Tennessee. The city of Nashville is holding a candlelight vigil tonight to mourn and honor the 6 victims who lost their lives in a tragic shooting at the Covenant School. 3 children and 3 staff members were killed as a result of the mass shooting in Tennessee on Monday. The released body camera footage identifies the shooter as 28-year-old Audrey Hale, a former Covenant school student who was fatally shot by the police 14 minutes after the attack was reported. The haunting surveillance footage shows that the shooter was armed with at least 2 assault-style rifles and a handgun while shooting through a door to enter the school, moving to the 2nd floor and opening fire.
So sad and heartbroken for the families that are impacted by this and their children. And so, we know there's a hard road ahead for a lot of people, and certainly they're in our prayers. So.
Police are still investigating a motive behind the attack, but according to officials, the attack was calculated. President Biden has ordered flags to be flown at half-staff on all federal buildings through Friday. Now here on campus, reporter Melanie Karnowicz joins us from the Fine Arts Loop with the Stony Brook community's reaction to the parking proposal from the United University Professions Fair Parking Rally.
Hi, Bruce. Behind me are just some of the Stony Brook community members that are very concerned about the proposed parking model that went live in February. As stated from the email from Mobility and Parking Services, the university is exploring a campus-wide, fully paid parking that will begin in fall of 2023. Students and faculty are reacting strongly to the proposal, and several unions are gathered here today. Joining with us today is UUP Stony Brook Chapter President Andrew Soler-Greco. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
So what is coming here today mean to you?
Well, it means a lot, really, because we're seeing students, faculty, staff, folks from over 8 unions coming together to stand against this proposal that management has put on the table, because we recognize it would impact all of us, right? It would impact every single one of us. And we're trying to stand united together. And we recognize that our working conditions as faculty and staff are yours as students' learning conditions, right? And we have collective bargaining power. You students don't. You don't have a real voice here to make sure that you don't get a raw deal. So we're trying to build a broad coalition here with students, faculty, staff, everyone, to stand against this and fight for fair parking. We don't want to be put into positions where we're fighting over parking spaces that are already pretty scarce. So we have this powerful, large turnout. There's hundreds of people here today, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what we could do together.
Perfect. And if you can just boil down the message that you're sending to the university today, what is the biggest message that you're trying to tell them?
Let's get a fair deal. Let's bargain together to have a fair deal here. You know, we were on the back foot when this proposal was sent out in its full kind of developed capacity. And we want to make sure that, everyone's voices are heard and that we get a very fair deal, and that one that recognizes that, the parking plans on other campuses are not nearly as draconian as this one. And that we have a very unique circumstance here that needs to be taken into consideration.
Thank you so much for joining us today. So the next fair will be happening on April 12th. That'll be a Wednesday from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the main hospital garage. For more information, you can visit the union's website, which is www.uupsbu.org. Back to you, Bruce.
After nationwide protests, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is delaying a controversial judiciary overhaul until the next parliamentary session. Tens of thousands of protesters took to the streets in anger after Netanyahu fired his defense minister, Yoav Gallant, for challenging his judicial plan overhaul. The proposed bill would have dramatically altered the country's separation of power and given Prime Minister Netanyahu's government unparalleled authority. Under the delayed proposal, the government can appoint judges and Parliament can override the Supreme Court's decisions. Opponents call this a great danger to Israeli democracy. Thousands of soldiers and officers have threatened not to show up for duty if the legislation passes. Israel's largest labor union called off a general strike for now, but has warned it would revive its plans to protest if the legislation passes.
We said from the start, stopping temporarily the legislation is not acceptable and not enough. What we demand is to throw all this legislation to the dumpster of history.
And that's all for this week's edition of Stony Brook Newsbreak. I'm Bruce Pandolfo. See you next time, Seawolves.